doing to an extent with leasing on fire apparatus now out of saved funds rather than paying for it after we purchase it.
We're already doing it with the breathing apparatus for the fire department.
Right, we have some small capital reserve funds there, and that's great. $50,000 in a capital reserve fund for replacement vehicles and apparatus is, it's kind of like going to the bank with $10 to open a savings account. It's a start, but that amount of money is nowhere near, in my view, what it would take to accumulate enough to really be able to go from lease purchase on $600,000 apparatus to paying out of a fund that we've accumulated.
There's a couple of other advantages, in my opinion, is since I've been on the Board of Selectmen, and he reiterated the last with the health warrant article, the savings account for that, is let's smooth out these peaks and valleys, and that's what CIP has done, that's what the Budget Committee has done. The other thing is, Tufton Borough, we can only get passbook saving interest on our checking account. The committee that does the capital reserve funds can invest the money and get 6 to about 16%. There's one town that just got 19%. Well, wait a minute, that's taking your tax dollars and really maximizing it. Go ahead.
Could I ask a question on this? Did DRA say anything about the word equipment? And how, because equipment could be a standalone printer, a computer, whatever. Should it be to equip vehicles or?
That's not what
Yeah.
they didn't comment on that one way or the other.
Okay.
Right, but it is kind of vague.
Yeah.
And it would be to purchase and equip vehicles would be a cleaner way to do it. But to add just equipment as a, could be
Yeah,
anything.
But you can't change it with the
No, we
statute.
No, we can't change the petitioned
Only
article.
the town meeting can.
Only town meeting, right?
Right.
But I think it's a valid
Discussion
concern. Another observation that I will make as it relates to purchasing vehicles, it's been the practice in this town that when we purchase vehicles such as the police cruisers and a code enforcement vehicle and and some of the smaller vehicles that the fire rescue department uses, those are purchased outright for 80, 90,000 or less in a particular year. So in my view, what you want to accumulate capital reserve for are these huge things. The ones that are several $100,000 that if we try and bite it off as a chunk in 1 year, it causes a heck of a spike in current year expense, which of course, if you do it that way, flows right through to taxes. I think we all benefit from a situation where our taxes are at a relatively predictable level from year to year. They don't go up hugely, they don't go down hugely from year to year. Everybody'd like to pay less taxes, no question about it. But if we're paying less taxes this year, that causes us to have to catch up and then some the following year, that's a far more difficult situation for most taxpayers to pay than if taxes are relatively level from year to year.
We need to find out who wants to present that petition at town meeting also.
Well, the petition was presented to the town by Robert McWhorter. Okay, so presumably he would be the one at town meeting.
I'll check with Bob and see who wants to speak to the article.
But I do think that we need to communicate with him the information that we've gotten from DRA. I absolutely agree with you that having it be a surprise on the floor at town meeting doesn't help anybody.
That's not right.
Does not.
You know,
No surprises.
reasonable concept, but if enacted as the way it's presented, it's a nothing burger. DRA will, would not allow it to go forward, which doesn't meet the intent, I'm sure, of the petitioner. And I'm not sure it serves any purpose other than to have a discussion on the floor.
Anything on this subject, Carla?
No, I'm assuming we have to vote the same way tomorrow.
Sure.
I'd like to shift gears and
All
invite.
right, do we want to specifically deal with that before we go on?
You want to make a motion?
I will move the petition warrant article for inclusion on the town warrant. And you want me to read it again? Do I need to read it again?
Oh, no, I think you're fine, it's fine,
Okay.
and I also need your
All right.
recommendation one way or the other.
And what am I missing here?
It's on the warrant article no matter how we vote.
Okay.
Right, exactly,
All right.
yep.
So it's,
All right, fine. I will move approval of the petition warrant article by the Board of Selectmen.
for purposes of discussion, a second.
Okay.
Well, if I may, is the board going to recommend or not recommend
That's
passage
what
of the
that's what we're
article?
voting on.
Yes.
Right.
You can say I vote to recommend, or I move to not recommend, or, I believe.
How are we gonna?
But I know what you mean, the
Tell
way
me
the
how to
vote
vote,
goes.
Bill.
Well,
Yeah.
all right, so do we move to recommend it and then vote against it, or do we move to,
I know what you mean, because the way the
Right.
warrant reads, you do,
right?
yeah.
So
Either way
All
it
right.
comes out the same.
I've moved that we recommend this article on the warrant. You've seconded it,
For purposes of discussion,
right?
I said no. I said, I seconded the motion.
Right.
I'm going to vote to not recommend it.
I understand.
Okay, are we ready to vote?
So, yeah. The motion is,
It's an affirmative motion, not a negative
Right,
motion.
right, so a vote of no is appropriate?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
For me, it is, yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Are we ready to
Yeah,
vote?
I do not want to recommend this to the voters.
Right.
I'm going to vote no, and that's my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say yes. All those no, say no.
No.
Yep.
It is 0-3.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Jim, finally, come on down.
Voting positive on a negative or negative on a
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? So,
So-
yes, it will be on the warrant.
It has to be on the warrant
Has to
because
be
it's
on the warrant.
presented
Okay,
as a
so
petition.
your vote is just
But
that you do
we-
not recommend
we-
it, for all the
This,
reasons that
this,
you've
this
discussed.
board has voted not to recommend it.
can't recommend this.
Not to recommend its passage.
Right.
Okay. Are you ready, Jim?
Yes, good morning.
Happy spring.
Wow, I wish. It's warm out, put that going for
Go ahead,
us.
sir.
So far, since the first of the year, we've actually been out to either plow, treat, or both, total of 26 times so far. And in between plowing and treating roads, we've been pushing back some of the snowbanks as needed, cleaning off the bridges, opening up drainage areas, picking up storm debris, and hauling in sand for the winter stockpile. That's pretty much all we've done since the first of the year.
This weather's been keeping you busy, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just freezing rain and stuff like that. All the dirt roads were a mess this morning, and the skating rinks,
Yep.
so it does keep us busy. How early?
The equipment all running okay?
It's been a little bit of a battle. Nothing huge, but it's constant little things. The new town truck that we have, for some reason they use tiny little cotter pins that hold the controls for the hydraulic, I forget what they're called, but in the back you have these actuators and the cables pull them up and down.
Mhm.
And the cotter pins have been falling out, so we've got all brand new stainless steel ones coming. But, you know, when you're out sanding or plowing, it's
25-cent item keeps you down, right?
It does. Yeah.
NASA used to bump into that.
Yeah, but, you know, we have a few other things going on, you know, with the older truck and stuff like that, that we've had to, you know, work on, but nothing serious so far. We haven't had any serious issues, just other ones, so. And I've had problems with my trucks, town sanders, it's always something.
Well, it's a brutal environment. All of our equipment. It's not that people are misusing it, it's just that it's out in a bad environment and
Yep.
the law of physics pushing stuff. It ain't easy.
Salt,
Water, salt, sand, you got
Yep.
corrosive, abrasive, and temperature swings.
yep, it's constant. I noticed the roads have really noticed the temperature swings too, those are getting pretty rough now. The
Yes.
frost heaves are coming out quite badly.
Yes, they have. I wish you'd eliminate those.
I wish we could.
Anything else for Jim?
No, I think we're good. You're on board with Jack on the Sodom Road Bridge. That's going out for some kind of bid proposal.
Yeah, you know what,
There's a
what
copy.
what we're up to on that at this point? HEB is putting the repair out to bid with the idea that we will have bids in before town meeting, so we'll know what we're dealing with to
Okay,
do the repair. And our the intent of this board is that we'll get it done this summer,
yeah, that'd be great.
you know.
Yep.
It's an
At a
important
time when the weather is good, working conditions on the bridge, and it fits schedule-wise with the contractor so that we're not paying a huge premium to get it done. My view is it's important that we get the thing fixed, but it's not the emergency that we have to just do it the week after town meeting. It's an inconvenience, and we need to reestablish full load carrying capacity, get it back to normal, but
Yep.
in an orderly manner, not, you know.
Well, the longer you wait, the worse it's gonna
Mhm.
feel, because I've been underneath that bridge this winter, and you can see that it's come apart further since last year when I looked at it. I actually took pictures of it, and you can see there's a gap this far underneath some of those support beams that are
Mhm.
spalding apart.
We also included $10,000 in the paving budget for a paving study, so you'll have to get up to speed on that as well.
Yep, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
So we,
Have you had an opportunity in your few minutes off to review the culvert study?
I did, yes. Last time we talked, I didn't realize that I actually had the paperwork in my mailbox, so I hadn't seen it. And now that I've seen that, actually, that is nice. They did a nice job. I actually think that's gonna be quite useful.
It's a
We got a
nice
big
nice
map.
roadmap, if you will, for, okay, these are the culverts
Yep,
that ought to be addressed.
they've simplified it for us, so
Yep.
we know where to start.
Yep.
Yep, I think it's good.
And if you have time, I'm sure you're gonna be able to target 2 or 3 of the most serious ones that they articulate. I think there's, I forget the numbers, but I wanna say there's 22 that are in disrepair or need attention or whatnot.
Yeah, old steel culverts, yep,
And I know you took a course on that, so,
a couple times, yeah.
okay. Anything else you wanna bring up?
Not at this moment, I think we're good.
Okay, I saw a hand there.
I would just like to thank Jim and the crew for the great job they've done all winter so far on keeping the library lot clean and open, and extra parking across the street open. And you all know we have the issue with the septic system that has to get pumped once a month. And the guys, you know, have been really good about piling snow so that DJs doesn't have to dig through 20 feet of snowbank to get to the the top of the septic tank.
Thank you, I'll pass it on to the guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I have nothing else.
Good.
I'm good.
Very good.
I'll let you get
Thanks,
back to
Jim.
work.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Next is review and approval of minutes. We have two sets. We have Monday, February 5th, the 9 a.m. Selectmen's meeting. I have nothing.
I'll move approval of the Monday, February 5th minutes.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Next is the February 5th, labeled as non-public meeting. That was the 10:50 a.m. meeting. I have nothing to change.
Move approval.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Let's move on to signature file. That is the red file. First item is for Robert Spur, S-P-U-R-R, to fill the vacancy on the Board of Adjustment. Term expires June 2020. Is there a motion?
This is an alternate position, correct?
Appoint you as an alternate member of the Board of Adjustment. Yes.
Move approval.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Next is the land change matter for lot 65-3-7. Chip, you researched it and it's appropriate as presented, correct?
Correct.
I'll read the case law or the RSA. Except in the case of land which has changed to use, which does not qualify for current use assessment due to size, only the number of acres on which the actual physical change has taken place shall become subject to the land use change tax, and not land not physically changed, that shall remain under current use assessment. That's your understanding? That's mine.
Yep. I'll move approval. of
I'll
the
second.
Abatement recommendation.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And this is abatement granted.
Yes.
What's today, the 13th?
12.
12th?
Lincoln's birthday.
Thank you for checking that out for us.
Well, it's a confusing statute.
Yes,
I was confused.
I had forgotten about that one. Put everything right back in this folder. That's it for signature. Anything else for signature, Karen?
No.
Next is continued business. There's nothing in that folder. Selectmen's update.
I got a couple of things. Bob was in last week and talked to us about campaigning at the transfer station. We agreed that that was appropriate as long as it doesn't interfere with people and doesn't become confrontational. But I thought afterwards, we probably should have at the meeting, we ought to get the notice up about political signs, Karen, that we put on the website every year about not putting political signs on public property, on the little turnouts at the intersections and stuff like that.
Okay.
Who owns the transfer station?
The town,
So that's public property.
yes, no, we're not talking, no signs at the transfer station, but individuals can campaign at the transfer station.
That's fair.
Right.
Yeah.
It's up to each board of selectmen.
Well, and we reminded them that the moderator controls the polling place, so.
Yes.
The polling place is that's your sphere.
Yeah, I was concerned only about that RSA regarding political advertising on public spaces,
Right.
and you seem to have addressed it.
Right, so anyway, you can pull that back out and put it on the front page of the website.
Yep.
I think it also has a ditty in that law about what the sign has to list as the fiscal agent and, if I remember correctly.
That's how many times I've broken that law.
Right. Anything else?
I talked a couple of meetings back about an initiative to put a solar array up that would supply power to the fire station, and would be an arrangement such that the proceeds from that solar array can be used to help low and moderate income electric customers in town offset some of the costs of their bills. And we have a couple of individuals in town, and Smithwood, who has done these before, who are working on it. Anyone else that's interested in being involved in trying to move this project forward, I think it'd certainly be welcomed as participants. And again, my understanding of the way this would work is that the array would be operated by an independent nonprofit, and the town would sign a purchase power agreement for the power from that array to supply power at the transfer station at a price that's advantageous to us for the power, and that the bulk of that, the proceeds from selling the power, would then be available to help low and moderate income residents.
Through that nonprofit.
Through the nonprofit.
So
The nonprofit
It wouldn't be coming through here through the.
right,
water.
right, the nonprofit would administer the whole.
Your first sentence, did you say fire station, or did you mean to say transfer station?
Fire station.
Okay.
The transfer station doesn't use enough electricity. So the proposal was to put a 45 kilowatt solar array up near the fire station. It would actually be on the hillside by the old graveyard.
And your comment about the transfer station that you just mentioned?
Did I say transfer station?
Yes.
Fire station, fire station, I apologize. The fire station, transfer station's a great place to put a solar array up, okay, because we got a lot of unused land up there. But the way
So
the situation is structured, your greatest benefit is when you use the power where it's generated. If it's not used where it's generated and you're putting it into the system, then you're selling power to the co-op at the price that they would purchase power at, and you're paying transmission, distribution, system improvement charges on all of that as well as you're using it. If you use it where you generate it before it goes into the co-op system, then you get the full benefit of it. You're not paying anybody for it other than what you're paying to buy it right on the house or the building side of the meter.
Really?
You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I do, I'm trying to figure out where the money comes from that helps support the low-income people.
The town buys power from this nonprofit that will manage the array, okay?
Yeah.
And we buy it for less than we're paying today. But all that money is then available when you strip out some administrative costs.
Right, okay.
As net proceeds to offset the electric bills of low and moderate income residents. And I guess the impetus or the motivation to try and move forward with this is it appears that the Public Utility Commission may look favorably on granting money to do an installation. And this would be the total upfront cost of putting this thing up. Now this is all money that we're paying every month into this renewable fund, okay? So it's a way we gotta pay it anyway, because that's the way the law's set up. So we're paying into this fund. This is an opportunity to bring it back.
The Reggie Fund.
The Reggie Fund, yeah.
Right. I mean, I guess it would bear looking at. We currently spend about $23,000 in electricity in the town.
Mhm.
I guess I'd want to see what the power generation estimates are for the solar, and then irrespective of line charges and that sort of thing, whether or not you go through this nonprofit to benefit low income, or we just figure our baseline at 23,000, and if we're making $10,000 worth of electricity, we've got $10,000 worth of avoided costs that we run through the town.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it would be an interesting conversation to have how we structure it. But we don't have enough information to do that now.
Right.
So I think it's getting these folks.
It's worth investigating.
Yep.
Yeah. I know that Ackworth, I think it was, or one of those little towns down in the southwest,
Well,
put in a big solar array.
Doug Smithwood did have a PowerPoint with that presentation.
Right.
Isn't the system also turned over to the town after 7 years or something? Where it becomes yours and you get the
Actually,
electricity?
the model that is being discussed for this particular array, and again, this is all with an idea of low and moderate income support. The array belongs to the nonprofit, not to the town.
I thought that after a certain amount of time, there was some other option.
It gets turned over to the owners, which is a group of,
Oh, okay.
it's not the town.
A lot of
Oh, okay.
like Sun City and those operations will put solar panels on your roof for free, and you just pay the going rate for electricity. And then after a certain period of time, you own the panels. And
But this is different.
this is a
Yeah.
little different. And plus
It's-
Reggie's paying for it. Nobody's, I mean, it isn't.
We've already paid that money out, this is a way to get money back, but the structure that's being talked about is something that would fit with getting the grant money
Right.
to erect the array. So the next step at this point is a meeting with the electric co-op. Doug seems to think that one of the benefits of moving forward with this is that we can change the class of service that we get at the fire station and reduce our monthly charge by our monthly customer charge. I guess I don't have it here in front of me. By several $100s.
Yeah, I think it's like.
So,
Several $100 a month.
yeah, don't put that in your notes.
And that's gonna happen whether or not we do the solar or not.
It would happen in connection with the solar because of generating up. Don't put several hundred dollars in your notes, please, because that's from my memory. I thought I had it in front of me here, and I don't. But we
So it
do.
could reduce the monthly charge.
Yeah.
I just won't say no.
Change the class of service to reduce the monthly charge.
Anything else?
That's all I have. Probably.
Yeah, I spent the weekend reading the law, and I'm a little concerned about this notion that Wolfboro has of altering their boundaries to include 5 acres of Tuftonboro and doing it via an eminent domain action. And I don't have a real firm grasp on it yet, because I just heard about it Friday. But the long and the short of it is that their septic system has failed, which is on land bordering Tuftonboro, and has polluted, for all I know, 5 acres of Tuftonboro. And in order to correct this problem, they want to buy the land from the current landowner. They can't come up with an agreed price, and so now they want to take the land by eminent domain. I'm still working on it. I mean, my basic understanding of owning property in another town would require, or changing the boundaries of the town, which is effectively what this does, because it's right on the border of the town, would require a legislative enactment to do that. Short of that, if they're allowed to purchase the property, Wolfboro's allowed to purchase property in Tuftonboro, what's the taxable consequences? They're gonna claim that they're a tax exempt municipality, I'm sure. So we've actually had 5 acres of